Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Marie Briel.
And I'm Heidi Henry coming to you from two socially distant studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide, where every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock we bring you live the progressive news and views that you can use to make good decisions in your life, we hope. You can find all of our previous episodes at heartlandmamas.com, on all podcast platforms, on YouTube, and probably part of the Demcast USA network. And Murray, today we're going to talk about an event that you and I would never attend.
Wow. Yeah.
CPAC.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
for those of you who don't know, CPAC is this ultra conservative right wing group that does a rah rah go team convention. It's kind of like the far right extreme of maybe like the progressives having a convention, right? Because I
Yeah,
guess you
like
could
we all get
compare
the
the
word.
two, the conservativeness of CPAC to the progressiveness of.
I don't think we have anything like that. I mean, I really, most of us progressives work all the time. We don't have time to go all get together, especially during a global pandemic, and be maskless together. So let's have a super spreader Republican event because that's exactly what this is going to be. So, and CPAC is the American Conservative Union big um, powwow. No, I hate to call it a powwow because it's something sacred. It's their big convention, like electricians have conventions and dentists have conventions. So this is their convention,
All right,
their
all
accountants
right.
convention.
It is, and
That's
and
about
it's
the only
it's a
thing that's
big
good.
rah rah thing, right? So,
Yeah,
Heidi was in
go
our pre-show.
go.
You were telling me that this whole thing. All right, so to start off, guys, when Heidi mentioned doing this show to me, I really kind of felt like, why on earth would we give any oxygen to this horrific group of human beings that don't value all people as sentient beings? But
No.
you know what, man? It is going to be such a hot mess that I was like, Heidi, I love you for doing this because the entire thing is shambles. So we're going to give you a little brief history. Go ahead, Heidi. Give us a little bit of a
Well,
history about.
okay, so it was started in 1974, and it was, under Nixon, which is really funny until you hear who the keynote speaker is, because it is like my least favorite president ever, and that is Ronald Reagan, was the keynote in 74.
So you see,
So that
folks,
was your keynote guy. Yeah.
CPAC has gone through an evolution too, from conservative racist bigots to conservative racist bigots. We really haven't seen any evolution there, have we? Or devolution. They've been the same that they always were.
Well,
So
Murray,
along the time
they
that we
dipped their,
start expanding, right
yeah.
around the time we start tearing down legislation and laws about protecting equals time equals speech, and the time specialty news outlets pop up, we have this a convention just for those right wing, gun toting, LGBTQ hating racists. Something
Misogynist
special just
pig,
for
yeah.
those folks.
Well, and they've dipped their toes into LGBTQ issues, into race issues, into misogyny issues, into white supremacy issues. They kicked Richard Spencer out 2 years ago, but then they pull back to their kitchen table conservative message, if you will, which is who uses which bathroom, what parts you were born with, why women should not have any control over their own destiny, and how to lower taxes on rich people and soak the poor people. Not,
Ooh, don't
don't forget.
forget how to not let immigrants get citizenship
Oh,
so we can continue paying them nothing, providing them with no protections, and having them
right.
work illegally in our factories to make us countless amounts of money. Yeah,
So they
no,
can't
that's
get
it.
workers' compensation or unemployment or any of that. So we want to make sure that we cover those kitchen table repressive Republican things. This is what I picture: Republican families sitting down for breakfast over their, easy over eggs, a pile of bacon, 6-shooter, and a bunch of bowl full of misogyny. Just saying, you
Right. Okay, so let's flash back. I think CPAC would get, some attention from all of the news outlets periodically. They
Yeah.
would get, but it wasn't a massive coverage until we had Donald Trump on the scene. And he was so
Right.
bombastic that, of
Yeah.
course, all the media wanted to see what was going to happen at CPAC. And it was a
And then,
presidential year, which they're always, bigger,
yeah.
higher up on the list because it's before the primary. And, what I think is so interesting is that in 2017, we were all still shell shocked from the election of Trump and the things that he had done. And CPAC happened. And one of the most horrible human beings in the world was a speaker at CPAC on a Friday. It was Steve Bannon. And I will never forget talking about how Steve Bannon sat there. We've talked about this. In that
Yeah.
CPAC, he said Donald Trump's specific goal is to dismantle the United States government. And yeah, we
Right.
talked about that. And when we talked about that, Heidi
And that's what he
mentioned,
did.
well, it's more of a libertarian slant. But
Well,
he
that's
didn't.
what it was.
Right, but that was never
Until
it. It was
Trump.
for a fascist dictatorship. So Steve
Yeah.
Bannon knew and called it, and we tried to warn people and say, dude, like, he just said that they're going to tear everything apart. Why are you...
Yeah.
Would somebody stop it? And we couldn't. And
But
that's why we have
we
what we have.
couldn't stop it, Marie, because we just had elected him to be the next president in 2016. And you have to remember, as we talked in preschool, in 2016, Trump pulled out of being at CPAC before the election because it's in the winter. And what did I tell you would happen if Trump pulled out all the time?
Then we wouldn't
Junior.
have Junior or Eric or Barron.
Or
No.
Tiffany. He wouldn't have had to have Tiffany or Barron.
All right, so we just got to talk.
Instead of three.
Let's talk
Sorry.
about the right now. So CPAC starts today. Super exciting.
Yeah.
Yay. Right. All of these crazy right-wing eccentrics are getting ready to get together in one place. I am not suggesting anything at all. Stay
No
away
math.
from there, but come on. So it's in Florida, of course. Where else would you have the crazy pants party?
Florida.
Except maybe Texas. But I'm thinking it's mostly like Florida.
Florida.
And this proves to be,
Super
past
spreader
years,
event.
it's been organized. Past years, it's been in coordination with the RNC.
Yeah.
Past years, it's been sharp and put together. This year, it's nothing. It's going to be much like the Republican National Convention was.
Where you just have one idiot get up and speak after another with no real point, except that we know that they're going to talk about the kitchen table Republican issues of what body parts you were born with, which ones you added later, which one
Okay,
or took away.
we got to talk about this before we get there, though.
I-
You
I-
realize the title of this year's CPAC is America Uncanceled. Because apparently we are cancel culture because we won't let you
they canceled
proliferate
some of their
hate and
speakers.
violence against the government. So our establishment Republicans, right, we knew Liz Cheney wasn't going to get a formal
No
invitation.
invite for Lizzie.
She said over the weekend that she did not believe that Trump should speak because he isn't the voice of the Republican Party, and she caught massive flack from that.
But guess who the keynote is? The
Oh my
keynote
God.
is Sunday night. It's Trump. It's his
I know.
first public speech since he got on Marine One by the dumpster and left, and then got off with a different Melania. I'm not sure. I don't know. We don't even want to talk about her. But here's who else he didn't invite or canceled was Nikki Haley, who was supposed to go and be a speaker, and she came out against Trump and she was canceled. Talk about canceling,
Right!
cancel culture.
Guess
I
who
know.
was not
And then-
invited? Guess who
Mitt
is
Romney.
not invited to CPAC? Mitch McConnell.
Mitch
Our
McConnell not
friend
invited.
Mitch's invitation got lost in the mail.
Apparently.
Adam
And the
Kinzinger's
same
not
thing-
invited either. Just
No.
for the
Kinzinger's not.
record.
But Mike Pence was invited, and I'm saying so they could have a repeat of January 6th and try to get it right, air quotes, for them, because, they were after Mike Pence, and Mike Pence knows that. So when they invited him, he's like, not falling for that trap again.
right? I'm
Mike
glad.
Pence not showing up.
So the best part is,
Save your
as
ass,
of this
Mike Pence.
morning, they had absolutely no program, no speaking
No,
schedule.
it starts today,
What their
and there's no
opening
program.
day is way quieter than it usually is, and at 5:45 is the
Yeah.
Jewish prayer service. At 6:30 is the international reception, invite only, and that's it.
Well, and we
Now
discovered
that is it. And then
yeah.
Friday you have DeSantis, Mike Lee, Scott Walker, a bunch of gems. I'm telling you, it's like the who's who of the
No,
smarmiest smarm. That's what they should rename this, right? What should we rename
smart
this?
Smarmfest. Smarmfest
Smarm Fest 2020. I like 2021.
2021.
I like it.
Because, you do have Josh Hawley is coming. He'll be one of the featured speakers. You have Ted Cruz is coming, of course. I don't know. Can Ted Cruz really get away from Texas? I know he tried to go to Mexico, and I know he had to come back, and I know he's pissed
We
about
have our
people who took his
pirate Madison
picture, people who
Cawthorn.
turned his-
We have
Oh, yes.
our
No, Madison
sycophant
Cawthorn is
Matt
the
Gates. I believe Donald Trump Jr. is going to be
yeah,
the keynote speaker that night. Are you fucking?
that night.
Guys, I
Rick
can't.
Scott.
I'm gonna drop a couple of bombs here
Yeah.
because the
And of course McCarthy,
absurdity.
who yeah. Oh, and Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham will be there. He'll be there.
Devin
He'll have to
Nunes
struggle to
is
get there.
speaking. Okay, so we
Oh,
got Ken
of
Paxton,
course he
Rick
is.
Grinnell, Mike
Did you
Pompeo.
bring him his
Of course,
cow?
pompous Pompeo is. Bill Haggerty, Robert
Yeah.
Leitner, Devin Nunes. Yes, he is. Cynthia Loomis, we remember her.
Yes.
They put Candace Owens' name wrong. They didn't even put her first name. It just says Burgess Owens. That's how much they respect people,
Burgess
right?
Owen. Are they bringing
Daryl,
down Kyle Rittenhouse? You
oh, let me
know?
see.
Big horn guy. Is Big horn guy
No.
coming from the QAnon?
No, I don't think so. Christy
Yeah.
Noam
Yeah.
is, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and
Oh God.
Mike Huckabee, and
Of
Larry
course.
Kudlow. Their final
Yay.
lineup are those four. Really? Really?
Yeah.
That's your
Well,
closing act, huh? That's
the
your
Huckabees,
hoo-ha, rah-rah, go give me money? Oof,
the
it's terrifying.
Huckabees are, doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on yeah, on everything. I mean, Sarah Huckabee Sanders never said an honest word in her life. And now she wants to be the governor of Arkansas. I suppose if you're going to be a governor of anything, Arkansas, Mississippi, that might work. New Mexico, Montana.
Okay.
So,
Okay, it's
oh, not
so
Montana,
weird.
North Dakota. Yeah.
It is just, it boggles my mind. Like, okay, so we clearly see that the party is the party of Trump, and those who have tried to stand up, like your Kinzingers, your Romneys, not that Mitch ever tried to stand up. He covered his own ass by pushing it off to the courts, which is what he's best
That's
at.
right.
But, there's no heavy hitters. There's no principle. There's no one with a brain in this lineup to offer a platform, a vehicle. Like, this is
Well,
supposed to be a vehicle, and it will be nothing but a hate fest.
Murray, this is it's going to be a hate fest. This, like I said, they're going to hit all their kitchen table issues, Republican kitchen table issues. Plus, they will add in. They're going to let Trump talk about election fraud as if it was real, about stolen elections. I know I saw that there's a whole bunch of things about failed states, and that was all the states that went from red to blue that flipped. So they're going to talk about the failed states in the United States. They're not going to talk about the blue that stayed blue or the red that stayed red. They're going to talk about the ones they lost, which were the same ones that they won in 2016, but they won by such a small margin, so it flipped back over. And yet, it must be fraud.
I
No,
don't
it's
get
not
it.
fraud, you idiots, but they're going to talk about it.
It
No,
is
I mean, 67, I think it's up to 72 cases
okay.
that they brought
Did
to the
you
courts.
hear
Clear
though?
to the Supreme Court.
Did you hear that they're going to
What?
get trolled? So when we were comparing the extremes, they're so extreme that their own extremists are saying that they're not extreme enough. This is how crazy the Republican Party is. So, white nationalist Nick Fuentes, I know you guys have heard that name before, said he's going to be at the CPAC Hotel tonight with as many people as he can have to hassle and harass the CPAC goers because they don't take the policies far enough. Like,
Well,
literally, he wants them to be more racist, more angry, more. And you guys keep feeding this. What the hell is wrong with you?
Liz Cheney is right, and I don't like to agree with her because I can't stand her. But in Adam Kinzinger, this where the Republican Party has decided to double and triple down and anoint Trump as their leader. Because what happened Sunday night is he's going to get up on stage and he's going to announce that he is running in 2024, therefore icing out every other candidate and he's put the whole party on ice, which is exactly what he wants to be. What he wants to do is he wants to freeze everybody out so all the focus is on him because he's such a freaking narcissist, right? He can't.
Now, how are they going to here? This is what I'm thinking. Is it like, Matt Gaetz, Josh Hawley, are all of them just banking on the fact that he's going to drop dead before the election, or he's going to be in jail? Why? If he runs again, what do they have to lose?
I don't know, Marie. I mean, you and I tried to understand this before we had a podcast.
We've tried so many times.
In 2016. Yeah, to understand how in the world they would pick somebody like Trump in the first place. Anybody who knew anything about him would have said, oh my God, not that guy, including Lindsey Graham, right? including Ted Cruz. But yet here we are, and this is their guy. Now we have to talk about, Marie, what this means for the party, because in 2021, they've decided to go all in on the last 4 or 5 years of the Republican Party. They've decided that that's really good, but yet they've taken out huge players in their own party, including Mitch McConnell. So where are they going? All I see is them all getting back on the Trump train, toot toot, right into the Florida swamps. I mean, exactly. Where are they heading?
You're totally right, Heidi. I mean, no, there isn't a place. That's what I'm saying, is other than fear of losing your seat or being primaried by one of his progeny, because I think he has, 10,000 kids. You're lucky to get challenged by one of them in some state. But if, other than that, the only motivator would be farther advancement. And maybe they're hoping to get appointments. I don't know. It's super bizarre. But before, we have to talk about something, though, Heidi. We have got to hit on the sponsors. So they get sponsors, and starting 4 years ago, was it, Heidi, or last year was the first year they had dual sponsors?
Well, they have what they call a platinum sponsor, which is the highest level. Like, you can come in for $2,500 and get a seat at a table somewhere. But if you sponsor at the top level, Murray, that's $250,000, $250,000. And it's not the My Pillow guy this year, which is really surprising. And I was really surprised I didn't see Mike Lindell or My Pillow sponsoring it. But they have 2 premium sponsors, 2 platinum ones.
Mike Lindell is saving all of his money for his lawsuits he got coming from Dominion. He's not going to be spending any money.
No.
Oh my God. Yeah, we have to talk about this. So 2 organizations / companies sponsored CPAC. Tell us what they are.
Well, the first one is a little outfit that we talked about, a year ago, called Liberty Health Share, which has some really nefarious people backing it. And Liberty Health Share is it's kind of like the MLM, the bad MLM version of healthcare. Okay. Anybody can sell it as an agent. You buy in and you sell so many shares, and they sell so many shares, and they sell so many shares. Basically, it's going to cost you about $800 a month per person, with a $6,500 in co-payments. And then if you don't drop dead, if you're seriously sick, you get nothing. You get the worst of the worst care. It is so bad.
But
that the Better Business Bureau has given them a no rating.
And here's the part that gets me. is that they advertise like crazy, massive advertisements. We're not talking like, one-off crazy right-wing website. No, these guys are on Fox News all the time. They're on OAN,
Yep.
Newsmax, the whole 9 yards. They are on every talk radio, and they're advertising that they're health care for Christians. They are grifting the shit out of these poor people who are too blinded by what they're bombarded with every day to who then give their money away. It is like the worst thing to call yourself Christian. Y'all know I'm not, but to call yourself Christian and then specifically prey on people, I just think is freaking insane. I hate that.
Marie, I told you the person who ripped me off the biggest was a business partner I had back in the late 80s who told me God was his senior partner. I should have run away, Marie. I should run away.
Run
I lost
away.
everything.
Run away. All right,
Wife
so
was my best friend. I believed him.
the first one we have is MLM scam medical insurance, health insurance company. And the second one, who is
Marie,
a platinum sponsor, is from the great
Yes.
state of Tennessee, folks. Dragging
Tennessee.
Canoe. Let
You'll
that sink
never guess
for a
what
minute.
Dragging Canoe is. Dragging Canoe.
Dragging Canoe, Tennessee.
I've heard of. Yeah, and well, it's in Pigeon Forge. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Disney World of the alt-right. That was the plan, to make a Disney World for the alt-right white people. So you would.
So
have
we're
to go to
talking a
Disneyland,
Second
I guess, and
Amendment
be the
amusement park, right? An alt-right
Right.
amusement park right next to Dollywood,
Right.
who Dolly would not approve of any of that.
people.
A world tourist attraction of white supremacy. So that's the plan, right? That's the story. And this
It probably
company
should've
called...
gone right next to the Noah's Ark thing.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they would have. I don't know. You got to go through the arc together. But then it gets even crazier because the first time they came on the scene was 2019, and they sponsored. And before they sponsored, they had formed their company in November of 2018. And that company, so they decided to do this right-wing theme park, right? Or they claimed it. They never did anything with the business. It's a shell corporation. There's empty building there on one lot, and it is strictly used to fund right-wing crap like this.
Really super white wing crap too, because it's owned by this guy named Bill Rose Jr. He's an attorney from Tennessee, and he has given $12.1 million to ultra conservative PACs. And what happens is when you form the shell corporation, and the shell corporation can be a platinum sponsor of CPAC. So he gives $250,000 to them that nobody has to account for.
No. He gives a lot of money to a lot of places, so that's a name we'll investigate coming up here soon. So anyway, guys, let's
gonna
just
talk about-
recap the disaster that CCAP will be. A third of the Republican Party won't be there or have anything to do with it.
Yeah, at
2/3
least
of
a
the
third.
Republican Party will be there high-fiving about hating LGBTQ
I think it's the opposite.
people.
I think it's 1/3 will be there. The other 2/3
I
are
hope
going,
you're right.
"What the
I
hell
hope
is
you're
that?"
right.
You know?
But
What the hell is that?
poll numbers bother me and scare me a lot. Anyway, so and it's a nightmare of the worst of the worst. I mean, who doesn't want to listen to Matt Gaetz, Devin Nunes, and Sarah Huckabee Sanders lie to us again and again? So it's going to be fabulous. We're not watching. I'm not watching it to give you a report on
No.
it. This is the most you're going to get because it's worthless
Right.
to me.
Not.
But we wanted
Not.
to give you guys a little idea of the shenanigans, and if you decided you wanted to watch it and laugh, let us know what you think. Thanks again for tuning in. Before we say goodbye, I would like to wish my darling boy a very happy 18th birthday, my firstborn. And he registered to vote today. He's super excited. So, thanks again, guys. Like, subscribe, and share. When you share, it lets other people know what we're doing, and that's sharing a progressive voice for those that don't get one very often. So, thanks again. I'm Murray Briel, and
I'm Heidi Henry. You can find all of our previous episodes at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com, on all podcast platforms. YouTube and probably part of the Demcast USA network. We'll see you later, everybody. Enjoy CPAC.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Right? CPAC. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a nightmare.
No.